What's up, everyone? Welcome to EDC Fanatics. If you are new here and interested in knives, EDC gear, and firearms that are of high quality but affordable, definitely hit the subscribe button so you will not miss weekly videos of unboxings, testings, and reviews of all kinds of EDC gear, knives, and firearms. You will not want to miss it. All right, with that being said, let's get into the purpose of today's video. Today, we are going to be going over why I think the Leatherman Wave is the best multi-tool for everyday carry. So, before I continue, I know obviously there's going to be people in the comments who don't agree, and that's perfectly fine. This is just my opinion. I'd be really happy to hear what you think is the best multi-tool that you've ever experienced. And why, and compared to this, I'd be really happy to hear. But all right, with that being said, so reason number one why I think this is hands down the best multi-tool that I've ever carried, at least, and what I think is the best is the blade options. This thing has a straight edge blade, also a serrated blade. So that alone beats a lot of multi-tools. I have multi-tools that only have a serrated, and I have had multi-tools that only have a straight edge. So that alone beats several. The second thing is the overall size of the multi-tool. At least for me, it fits in my hand perfect. Opening this blade and using it, I hold it really well. Thirdly, it has big and strong pliers. This is kind of a Leatherman standard. This is not really anything that's special about the Wave itself, but they're really strong, and they're relatively, I think, to carry this in your pocket, that's a pretty good pair of pliers. And it obviously comes with the wire cutters, as well as every Leatherman multi-tool has those. So it's not really special to this one, but as far as other Leathermans are concerned. But I've just been really impressed with the pliers. I've used this from anywhere from pulling a nail out of a wall, to pulling a hook out of a fish's mouth, to just gripping stuff I really couldn't get a hold of. I mean, just a lot of stuff, and it's done really well. I did work a maintenance job for a while, and this was used every day, especially the pliers and they never failed. I never actually had to go get a real pair of pliers. They always worked for me. All right, fourth thing is actually the saw. So this is the only multi-tool I have and carry that has a saw blade on it, and a pretty good one too. Whoops, not the saw blade. Here it is. So you can see a little bit discolorment. I haven't used it a ton, but I've cut branches probably about that thick with it, and it impressed me. I was really surprised I was able to cut what I really consider real branches with this saw blade. It's fairly long. I think that's why it partly did so well with a thicker branch than what I was expecting, is because this is a relatively large saw blade to have on a multi-tool, and I just think that's really excellent. It just really makes me feel like if I was going camping, let's say, and I did not bring a knife, I did not bring a saw or axe, or like a small machete or whatever, I really feel like I could only take this tool and I'd be fine. It has a nice big straight edge blade. It has another serrated blade if I really wanted to, but it just also has the this really nice saw that I know from experience can cut fairly good sized branches so that I could do a fire with if I needed to. Yeah, so that is 4 reasons why I just think this is the best multi-tool to carry for everyday carry. Kind of to touch back on a previous point is the size. How I said that it is nice and big as far as cutting stuff, like my hand fits it really well. It also, I think it is just small enough that it could count as everyday carry, more of like something you strap on your belt for like a maintenance job. I mean, it is not the smallest multi-tool. I'll certainly give somebody that. For me, when I pick my EDC, certain things I need to be small and as lightweight as possible. But for a multi-tool, I just slide this in my pockets, and I usually wear jeans, me personally. So I don't really care how big and heavy it is. But even much of any bigger than this would get difficult. But to me, it's no problem for everything that this packs, honestly. So I think the size, it is just small enough to be considered everyday carry. But since it's almost too big, it makes it a great size for your hand. Just in comparison, this is the Leatherman Wingman. So this is closer to a lot of sizes like the Skeletal, I think like the Bond, and it's bigger than the Squirt, but Squirt's really small. Those are all Leatherman tools. But so you can see it's not really a lot. It's a little bit smaller, but not a whole lot. But this one packs so much more to it for just a tiny bit smaller in size. So I do carry this one a good bit as well. It just has this blade. So like I said, with this one having a regular blade and a serrated blade beats a lot of multi-tools. It beats this one. So just wanted to point that out. And really the fifth thing that I just think, as far as all the multi-tools that I have, that I've had, that I've carried, that I've even just seen with friends and other shopping, I really think this is the best one because it just packs a high amount of blades with large pliers, and it has scissors. That was really one of the things that stood out to me when I got it. I feel like usually with multi-tools, you kind of pick, do I need blades? Do I need really good pliers? Do I need only scissors? Because even Leatherman, they have one, oh, I forget what it's called, which model it is, but they have one that they actually don't have pliers on it, but it's just a really good pair of scissors. So there's kind of choices to be made there. I know the only other couple I know of for Leatherman, just off the top of my head, that kind of pack all of these punches are the Free P4 and the Signal. The Signal's fairly new. Those both also do have a saw blade, a regular straight edge blade, and scissors. So, of course, the only competition I could think for a Leatherman Wave is two other Leathermans. So I guess I could potentially call this video why Leatherman in general is the best multi-tool. But in my experience, I think the Wave is. Unfortunately, I know right now you can't find the original Leatherman Wave anywhere except for, I believe I saw one like for a secondhand use on Mercari or something like that. You'd have to get the Wave Plus. However, I don't have the Wave Plus. I've never held one, so I don't want to say too much about it. But from what I was looking at online, it has interchangeable, some interchangeable pieces as far as the pliers go. But all the other blades and stuff it offers is the same. So I feel comfortable in saying that if I think the Wave is the best one, I would pretty much agree with the Wave Plus as well. It has barely any difference, just one more feature as far as I could see. I'm sure there's a slightly more differences than that. But as far as carrying this, it does come with a clip that you can take off. That is a nice thing. Well, pop that off. So you could just take this off, and it also comes with this. You could just carry on your belt, really kind of like a maintenance style if you really wanted to, depending what you do every day. Or you have the clip, which obviously I had on, and that's what I use. Compared to this one, back to the Leatherman Wingman, you could go through the hassle of getting this off if you wanted to, but this really was meant just to carry in your pocket. So slightly more options here with the clip. I believe it actually comes with a spare clip, if I'm not mistaken. So this actually is my spare. Now I think of it, I did lose the first one, I think, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, there's one more thing I was going to say about it. Oh, yes. So Leatherman really has a thing with their bits for their screwdriver. I really am a big fan of this. You just pop this thing out. So you have the two most common options. However, kind of referencing back to a maintenance job, if you really don't know what you're going to get into today, and you might need more than kind of the average or the standard two options, the flathead and the Phillips, you can get a little kit that Leatherman has, and I don't think they're that expensive, but you pretty much have every single one of these available that you could use, and that could just be part of your everyday carry if that's going to be really useful to you. For me, I don't really ever go past these two. You can see I do have a lot of scratches on it and have used these a good bit, and they've performed really, really well. But I just think that universal capability they did with, I don't know what you call this. I guess you kind of call it like the, I don't know, the holder, I guess, for the bit. I'm sure there's a better term for that, but just their idea to make it so that if somebody needed, they could carry every single option with them in this small of a packaging is pretty cool. And it clips in really well there, as you saw, and it's really, really nice. So that's not everything this multi-tool has, but that's kind of all the reasons why I genuinely think it really might be the best one to me. Just everything that it packs with it for a size that I really feel comfortable holding it in my hands. Like this is not going to slip out of my hands. While this does slip more often. It's just a tiny bit smaller, so I have to crunch my hand a little bit more. And kind of like I said earlier, the only other competition I know for it, and that I'm kind of expecting in the comments, is other Leathermans. So I guess more of the story, Leatherman's by far best multi-tools out there, for they just pack so much of a punch. They're not the cheapest option always. The Leatherman Plus is like 120 bucks right now. That's not horrible. It's really not bad for everything that the multi-tool does for you in your everyday carry. Just to throw it out there, some other ones that are definitely on my buy list, or ones that I really do want in the future: the Skeletal, the Bond, the Free P4, the Signal, and the Squirt. So the Free P4 and the Signal are kind of going to be my really test directly against this one. And then the Skeletal is a little bit leaner, a little bit smaller, and the Squirt is much smaller. So is the Bond. I think the Bond I'm going to kind of compare to the Wingman more so. But yeah, like I said at the beginning of the video, please let me know in the comments what you think. If you carry this one, what Leatherman you might think is better than this one that I should get first out of those ones I listed. But yeah, I'll be really surprised if anybody has a suggestion that's not a Leatherman. I don't know. But really excited to see that in the comments. So all right, with that being said, I will see you guys next time.